Welcome to this tour of the unofficial Bitoku Solo companion app. This is an app I put together to help manage the Tengu activation cycle, so that I spend less time managing the AI and a little bit more time playing the game. This is what you'll see when you first open the app. You'll notice that there is a continue button. This is for if you're already playing a game with the app and the app closes for some reason, you've swiped it away or pressed back too many times, something like that. You should be able to press continue and get back to where you were in the game. Most of the time, you'll probably be pressing new game. When you are ready to start the new game, I would recommend that first you set up the game as the rulebook suggests. With the exception of the action cards, you probably don't need those if you're using the app. That's mostly what it's replacing. But you definitely need to have chosen, for example, the scoring rocks for Tengu. Because the first thing the app is going to ask you when you press new game is which of the yokai scoring rocks Tengu has on their board. And it will have to be one of these 5, and you will choose which one it is, and you simply just press the picture. Now you need to tell the app what the other Iwakaru rock, I'm probably just going to say rock from here on out, what other scoring rock they need, or they have on their board. And for example, let's choose this Mitama Spirit, and we'll press that. This is the main screen that you'll see, and let me walk you through some of the information on the screen. In the top left, you'll see an image that tells you whether or not Tengu is active or passive. You'll see the current board state, the rocks that Tengu has, how many dice are at the crossings, their resources, their dragonflies, Mitama spirits combined, and crystals. You'll also see what 3 action cards are up for potential activation. You'll see how many cards are left in the deck for action and how many have been discarded. This number plus this number plus the cards out here should always equal 10. This is to give you kind of a heads up to when the deck is going to be reshuffled. So if you are expecting certain cards and planning your strategy around that, you can do so. All the information above draw count, all of this information is editable with the exception during the game, with the exception of the rocks. Once the rocks are chosen at the beginning of the game, when you press new game, that's it. You can't change the rocks. So if this is a mistake, then you need to start a whole new game. But you are able to edit everything else. And if you want to edit something, you just click on it. So for example, if I click on this picture here, I can change the Tengu picture from being passive to active and back again. I can also change the dice state. I can essentially move the dice by pressing these arrows. You'll notice I cannot do a dice state that's not valid. For example, you can't have an unlocked 3 dice and a locked 2 dice. The 2 dice has to be unlocked first. And I also can't have the 4 dice leave before the 2 and the 3 are gone. So this is a way to adjust the board state if for any reason. You can also tell the app how many dice are at the crossings. This does not change automatically with the dice state, and you can do invalid configurations such as negative, or for example, this would be an invalid configuration. Just don't do that. The app's not going to like that very much. So we can reset it back to where we were and just click done, and we're back. But you can see that if I wanted to change it, suppose I'm in this state now, that it would reflect here on this main screen. And we can go back. Again, I cannot edit the rocks, but I can edit these resources. Just click on the resource that you want to edit, and you can edit any of these by increasing or decreasing them. And let me just show you that they will in fact change. And then we can send them back. And we can do the same over here. Most of the time, what you're going to be doing is rolling for activation. So when you click this, you'll get 2 dice. And it follows the rules that are in the book, where you choose the lower number of the 2 dice, and in 1 or 2, it's this card, 3, 4, it's this card, 5, 6, it's this card. Here we have a 3, so it's going to be the middle card. You won't even have an option to choose the other 2. It'll be pretty clear which one you have to do, and you'll just press activate. And that brings us to what I call the TAC step, or the TAC page. Now, you can see that it says we're already at TAC step G. And that's because the app already knew that A through F did not apply. So for example, A requires a contested crossing. You don't have any dice on the board. B requires the leftmost position of the card row. That didn't apply because you chose the middle card. C requires an unlocked dice, which didn't have. D needed the associated resource, which you didn't have because you didn't have any jade, and that's the associated resource. E needs a dice at a contested crossing. Again, no dice on the board. F needed an unlocked dice, didn't apply. All the dice were locked. And finally, G, the Tengu has at least one locked die. And that's what we have here. And the action is unlock one die and take the associated resource. And so it's telling you to unlock the 2 die and take 1 jade. I tend to do this physically as well. You probably don't have to, but I think it's fun and I do it physically as well. So we can just click done. You'll notice that I have a jade in my resource now. The middle card is gone. The card that was on the left is now in the middle, and we have a new action card. And we're going to just proceed when it's the Tengu's turn and continue this way. This card is kind of confusing when you're trying to do it in person because it depends on what the rocks are. And what's really nice is the app takes care of all those logical decisions for you, but doesn't know everything. For example, when it has unlocked dice, it doesn't know what spaces on the board are available. So it will ask you questions. This first question it's asking you is the Lands of Yomi available? It's asking this because it has a spirit scoring rock, which means that this card wants you to go to the Lands of Yomi. So we can say whether or not the Lands of Yomi are available. We can say yes, they are available. Now it's going to ask you if its favorite Mitama spirit is available. Let's say it is. And so it's going to tell you to take the unlocked 2 die, place in the Lands of Yomi, move the Tengu's Kodama in the Lands of Yomi 1 space, and take the innermost Saki, or the water Mitama spirit, or the skull. Now, because you got a spirit and it knows it already had a dragonfly, it says down here that it's able to combine the dragonfly and the Mitama. So it wants you to do that, and you gain 2 MP, 2 movement points. And then while you're spending the movement points, Tengu reaches a gate, you can press this gate button and do a gate action, which is drawing a card from the Tengu activation deck and getting its bonus. Yeah, and you can see now we don't have that dragonfly, but we do have a combined. Our 2 is off of our board. We do have a dice at a crossing, and we have some new actions. So we can now look at a few other features of the app. I won't go through exhaustively every tack step. But for example, it might ask you things like, is Tengu at a contested crossing? And you might not remember what a contested crossing is. There's a little glossary that you can get to if you press this red question mark on the top right. And it'll be able to show you that, a contested crossing is a crossing where both you and Tengu have a die at the crossings connected to the same hill area. Cool. And you can also go to the rulebook for more clarification. And if you find anything that's unclear while using the app, please let me know and I'll do my best to integrate it. So let's say that, Tengu is at a contested crossing. So what's going to happen? Well, it's going to look for the rarest Bitoku and ask you, hey, is that over there? And if you say yes, then you're going to go grab that. And we are able to do our whole action on step A. And we're done. So let's play out. I'm just going to kind of click around to show you a few other things. Like, for example, step F. Step F is if you have an unlocked dice, but the space you're supposed to go to is not available. Then you're placing that die on the home of the Great Spirit, and then you're advancing. So on the Kodama track of the Great Spirit, and also in victory points for Tengu. Now, you're even able to, if nothing's available, you have to choose the area to put the dice that has the most competitive Kodama. Let's say it's Forges, and then you're going to get the action associated with Forges. And again, it's going to take care of all that logic for you. So now what do you do if you have no dice? Suppose none of your dice are at crossings, you're going to finally get to step L, which is that Tengu passes. And when Tengu passes, you go to this screen, which is the Tengu has passed screen. And you wait there until you as the player have also passed. Maybe you've already passed, or maybe you'll pass after Tengu. And if you have, then you'll click Proceed to New Year. It says it's spring, or in the spring step. So when you're doing your reap the rewards and drawing cards in your hand and discarding one, Tengu is going to get MP for one for each crystal. It knows how many crystals you have, and so you'll get that MP. And again, whenever you get MP, you might get a gate action, and so you could click there and get the gate action. So we proceed to the new year. Reset. The dissect crossings is back to 0, but we've retained all of our resources. And that's essentially what you are going to be doing with the app. And it does not keep track of years. So you'll end the game once you get to year 4 and just sort of set this app aside and then score as you would following the rules in the book. And I'm pretty sure that covers all the different aspects of the app. Let me know if you have any questions.